What's up, dudes? Jay here. Hope you're having a decent day. I bet you're kind of confused. You're thinking, I see Jay's face. Andy's wearing a bib. What's going on? Well, let me just put my phone aside because you know how I do these talking videos. No notes, you know what I mean? If you're a New Girl fan, shout out to you. But apparently Darth Vader's like circulating around in the DBD community. And I didn't see it until Scott Jun's video, but then I was like, wait, this is a serious discussion. So I, did the normal go look on Reddit and Twitter, which the Twitter was such a bad idea. Honestly, DBD, anything related outside of the game is a bad idea, to be fair. But I did anyway, and I saw some discourse and discussion, from being what side you might be on from it. So I thought I'd just, do a little bit of a slot video, throw it together. We're just all seriously waiting for Springtrap to come out right now. I'm absolutely burnt out on DBD, and I think it was because of how much fun I was having on the Springtrap PTB. I was like, you know what, dude? Like, I'm just gonna kind of chill out for a little bit. Got to take a drink. Shout out to Ghost. I'm literally shaking. This is my second one of the day. Best energy drink out there, other than advanced.gg, by the way. Code J for 10% off if you want. I never really plugged that, but it's an option anyway. Those are just these. I can't buy those from the store. I can buy these from the store. That's why I drink these. And then I usually have one of those like 2 hours before bed because weirdly enough, they help me sleep. Anyway, and I just want to talk about Darth Vader. Does he belong in Dead by Daylight? What are my general thoughts? And I feel like I give a pretty unique perspective when it comes to these types of things, mainly because I'm not a horror fan. Also, if you're wondering about the bib, I'm in my like work t-shirt, and I don't need y'all knowing where I work for obvious reasons. So, that's why I have the bib. But like, I give a unique perspective because I don't watch horror. I don't like horror or anything. I just like Dead by Daylight. So like with the Springtrap IP, like I'm not tied to the IP where I'm like, oh, it's got to be this, or I'm not going to like it. As long as it's fun and it fits Dead by Daylight gameplay wise, that's all I care about. I have watched Star Wars before. I grew up watching Star Wars. I used to have really crazy nightmares about the guy that's red with all the horns and the double lightsaber. I don't know his name, but I remember as a kid, I used to have nightmares all the time. And actually, I used to have a crazy nightmare, like repeating. I stopped having it once I was like 16, little J lore for you, where Darth Vader would like chase me around my house, but he would never be inside the house. He'd always pop out of every window of my house I was currently living in. So that was always really weird, I'll be honest. So, I mean, that alone, if it's a nightmare for me, that's horror. But does he fit in Dead by Daylight? I think yes. Like I said, I saw Scott's video, and having like some type of option to where he could be zero terror radius, and you hear that whatever type of voice is this like lullaby essentially, kind of like what Huntress has. I think that could be pretty scary. I know. I literally, I guess I'm sitting here, and when I was like, I'm gonna make a video on this, I went on Reddit, like I said. People are talking kind of about like how his lightsaber would essentially be chopping people in half, and it just wouldn't fit DBD is what I'm seeing. That's like, in my opinion, I think it worked. The thing is like, yeah, they are strong, right? They cut people in half, if I'm remembering correctly. I might not be, I don't know. The last Star Wars movie I watched, any Star Wars content I consumed, I went to see it in theaters. I think I was 14 or 15, something like that. And I fell asleep in the movie theater and then woke up at the end. And then that was that. And that's the last time I was like, you know what? I remember liking these as a kid, being scared by them, but liking them. And this, I fell asleep and I was like, okay, I don't care about Star Wars anymore. But I know obviously it's a huge fandom and a lot of people do. But I do think he'd fit in DBD. I mean, you could use your force in multiple ways. I mean, we have new grab animation coming out with Springtrap. You could do something like the Lich, where you could do something with pallets. I don't know, maybe move generators where they're at from one place to another, and survivors are like, wait, what the heck? What happened to my generator, dude? I don't know, just, fun things like that. And I know, like, kind of bringing, this is how all these videos go. They're all over the place. I just ramble instead of hitting specific topics, which I'm really bad about. But I think, like, a lot of people are worried about DBD becoming Fortnite. And, like, it's hard not to put anything, like, compared, like, side by side to Fortnite whenever it's kind of has similar things it can, like, add to Fortnite, like some things we've gotten, and that would be one of them. Like Darth Vader's obviously in Fortnite, and so like, yeah, the IP's there, whatever. But I mean, at the end, like our battle pass system as well now is pretty, it's Fortniteified. I don't know, we'll make that a word. Fortniteified. But I think it could work, and I think people are kind of worried that it could become Fortnite. And like the horror aspect of the game, that sounds like I'm saying horror, a horror aspect of the game is like slipping away. But I mean, how long has it been since we've had like horror? I mean, it's not a horror game anymore, really. I feel like now more than ever, it's really about the gameplay and the unique power styles of the killer rather than it being like horror adjacent. Because like, I mean, you have like Sadico's and you have Freddy, horror icon, Myers, horror icon, all that. But I mean, Freddy, Myers, all them, that came out forever ago, dude. Sadico, horror icon. Am I missing anybody right off rip? I mean, we obviously have other horror icons like Chucky, but I mean, as someone that doesn't like horror movies, they scare the living fire out of me. I've seen the Chucky movies. They're whatever. I've seen the TV show as well. I checked that out with my stepmom one time. I was like, what is this garbage, dude? But so I don't think the horror aspect, Dead by Daylight's not a horror game anymore. I mean, The Unknown was pretty creepy. And like sometimes I won't cap because sometimes at night, if I'm playing at like 11:30 and I want to throw on an Unknown game, I got to throw on the mask that he has, his new mask cosmetic that came out a little bit ago. His face would freak me out, man. Like that was pretty, horrifying, if you will. But I think Darth Vader could fit. I think he could do some really unique things. He would be an M1 killer with an M2 power. Obviously, all M1 killers have an M2 power of some sort. And I think you could do a lot of really fun things with using the Force. I think he would fit. I think like this is literally, I saw this and it cracked me up. I'll put it on screen so you can see it. It said, I was told this isn't scary. Sorry. 6'8" space Nazi with superpowers and a laser sword. Yawn. That cracked me up, dude. That really did. But I think he would fit, and I think it would make sense. The thing is, now with Dead by Daylight and how it is, and by the way, rumors are circulating apparently that allegedly for the 10th anniversary, we're done, and it could potentially be a DBD2. If that's the case, what better way to transfer the entire roster of Dead by Daylight killers, make them all free. If you bought all of them or some of them, you get currency, brought back into your account, or RXLs, or, blood points, whatever it is. And then your first IP killer be Darth Vader. I don't see it really being an issue. We're not a horror, in my opinion, we're not a horror game anymore, man. Like back playing in like 2016, 2017, you felt the horror as Survivor. Now, dude, no, you got Nicolas Cage, goofy, guitar mechanics or whatever. You got little Chucky running around at you, that little turd. Just like the horror aspect's gone to Dead by Daylight, and I think it would be really cool. And anything to make the game bigger or have like substantial IPs to make it last longer, then we're literally creeping up on year 9. Next year's year 10. Like anything to make the game last longer, I have no issue for as someone that makes content on Dead by Daylight. Obviously, gets paid very minimally and enjoys the game for the unique powers and killers. So no matter, and I am a person that personally likes original chapters. I'm a original chapter guru, mainly because I don't really have any horror IPs that I like truly love. Like I still say that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, that would be hilarious, or at least as like a trapper skin or something. I think that would be awesome. That movie's so bad it's great. But anyway, back to Darth Vader. I do think it would work. You'd have a cool a grab animation with your Force. Behavior has shown that they can do that now, especially Springtrap, and obviously Wesker has one. So like, yeah, there's different options, and I think it could fit. I think it could be good, and I think that we're in year 9 of a game that's broad or has broadened their IPs to where it's not horror adjacent anymore, like I've constantly harped on. I think we should be a little bit more open-minded, and that might be easier for me to say that because I'm not a horror guy. I'm just like I play Dead by Daylight guy. That's pretty much it. I just want to give my 2 cents on Darth Vader at wrapping it all up here in the whole rambling nonsense that this video was. I think he would fit Dead by Daylight. I think you could do something very unique with this power. Like I said, put it out there. If Darth Vader comes into Dead by Daylight, he should be able to use the Force to move generators. Lore-wise, don't know if that's accurate or not, but I would assume it is, right? A little bit. He's getting thrown into the realm. It's allowed. But I think it would be really cool. It's good for the game, in my opinion. We're already in the Fortnite, if you will, of DBD, So, and we literally bagged Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, I don't see any issues with it. I mean, didn't he kill like millions of people or something, if I'm not mistaken? Like, he's like a bad guy, just not a horror guy. He's just in a sci-fi trilogy. It's several movies at this point, but he's in a sci-fi, the sci-fi category, not necessarily horror. And yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun, and it'd be unique. I don't know, you could do the sense of making it like third person, because that's how you play Battlefront, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't played Battlefront the first one since it came out on my PS4 when I still lived at the house, that Darth Vader would like run around and chase me into my nightmares to wrap that all up. But yeah, he would fit, in my opinion. I think it'd be good. Thank you for watching the video. If you got this far, shout out to my bib, shout out to Santa. If you don't know, I love Christmas 24/7, and I'm out of here. I hope you watched to this point. I don't know what you're watching on screen other than my face. I don't know what gameplay I'm putting on here, but I'm out of here. Darth Vader should come to Dead by Daylight because I think it'd be fun and quirky. And yeah, deuces.